Welcome everybody, this is Heroes and Brews with Nerdy Dudes. We are your friendly neighborhood Beeroes. This man is...
Kev.
I am...
Ty.
And we got another installment of some nerdy news. This is a little old, you know, but very current. Our friend...
It's old but current.
It is.
Yeah.
It's old but current.
It's a pretty serious topic that I think can go on for some time.
It will.
Yeah.
So as you all know, Mr. James Gunn himself, the director of Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2, the writer of 3 currently, has been fired because of tweets he made back in 2009 and 10. They weren't the nicest tweets in the world, but in my opinion, we're not going to repeat them here because there's no need to repeat. They're kind of grotesque, but I don't think it's something he should get fired over. I think he did a great job with Guardians 1 and 2, not saying that that's the reason he should stay. For me, in my opinion, you can't fire someone over something they said 10 years ago. Like, when we talked about this, like I said, it's 10 years. It's a decade. And he's obviously grown past that. If you look at yourself, right? Not even just him. Look at yourself now. Rewind 10 years. You're not the same person you were 10 years ago. You're not. I'm completely different. 27-year-old Ty is completely different than 17-year-old Ty. 100% different. Especially my mindset, the way I was, my personality, how I carried myself, completely different.
Yeah.
I know it's two different walks of life when you're 27 and 17. But back in 2009, 2008, we lived in a different world, right?
Yeah.
There wasn't... People made jokes and there was no sensitivity to it. You know, a lot of people nowadays very sensitive to everything, you know? It's easy to offend people.
Yes.
And back in 2009, that wasn't there. Especially when Twitter and social media was first getting started.
Sure.
You could say whatever you wanted to, and people didn't care. It was old news, you know? So, like, I feel like you got to take that into perspective when you're looking at someone's career. Yes, they said something stupid 10 years ago. Different person 10 years ago. And 2009 is a different time period than it is now.
Correct.
That's just my opinion.
What kind of boggles my mind is that when Disney decided to bring on James Gunn, and I actually have watched a few different YouTube vlog shows and podcasts about this topic, just to kind of see everybody's insight on, you know, their opinions on what had happened. And there was one that I watched in particular from John Campea, and he had brought up a solid point. When Disney hired James Gunn, so Disney is the employer,
yes,
and James Gunn is the employee,
yes,
right? Any employer, when they're bringing on somebody, is going to investigate into their
past,
their
social media,
and especially a company as large as Disney is. You know, that's your name on the line. So you want to see, does this individual that I'm bringing on to my company, is there any skeletons in the closet that could come out and then tarnish our company?
It's not like Twitter's secret.
Exactly. So, in saying that, these tweets, obviously tweets are public. Anybody can view these.
Unless you're a private account, which he's not.
Yes. So, I would think that a corporation such as large as Disney is would look into who they're going to hire to see if there's anything that this individual could bring on, that anything could leak out at some point and tarnish the Disney name.
Yes.
So they had to have seen these tweets. They had to have known about them. However, they brought James Gunn on.
Regardless.
Yes, and he was very successful with the first Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
And was successful with Volume 2 and kept him on for Volume 3.
Wrote the script for it.
Somehow, I don't know who it was, had re-released these tweets, and then Disney said, "This is against everything we stand for. James Gunn, you're gone. I'm sorry."
But it's always been public domain. Like,
that's why it's weird.
the funny thing is, because when that happened, like, I went on my Twitter, you can literally search. You can say, from my Twitter, there's like a little code phrase you can do in the search. From this date to this date, what were my tweets?
Yeah.
You can do that for anyone, right?
Yeah.
So, back when they hired him, they could have found his tweets. They could have searched through all his stuff. Especially,
You would think they would.
yeah.
It's Disney.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
you have a name to keep.
yes.
So you can't have anything like such as what James Gunn said, which was very offensive.
Yes. But nowadays is offensive. For me looking at that, because I had friends that said stupid stuff like that, it's just people looking for attention to make jokes and be funny on Twitter. You know? That's what Twitter was back then. People tried to make stupid jokes to be funny. Which that was the time frame back then. You know, do I agree with it? No.
Yeah.
Back then I was just tweeting, what's up, what's hang, what are you doing, let's go drink. Like stupid things like that. That's all I was doing.
Yeah.
But like people, I know I had friends and I had colleagues and classmates that were also trying to be funny on Twitter and say stupid jokes like that. But again, that was the time frame. Back then, when I was on Twitter, when no one was on Twitter, they had contests for companies and I won half of them because no one was on Twitter. I was making $50 left and right. Now I do a contest, especially for Funkos. I'll never see a Funko in my life for free because there's 3 billion people on Twitter and a few million are doing these contests for Funko.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a completely different world. Completely different world back then. And I have to say my favorite person in all of this is Dave Bautista. Loved him back in wrestling. His character was kind of stale sometimes. Different story. I am so pumped how he's backing James Gunn. Because you know what?
They all are.
They should be, because they formed this connection with him. They've been through 2 movies with him while these tweets were out. It's not like he just tweeted them. He's been through these movies while these tweets have been out for years.
Yes.
It's not like they've been hidden. He could have easily probably gone back and deleted them, which, I mean, it's not, I guess it's not easy because you have to go back in your history and delete stuff.
Yeah.
But regardless, these tweets were still there during the success of these movies. And I'm glad that they're also backing James Gunn up for this.
And all the actors and actresses, I know they signed that petition and they stand behind the man that James Gunn is today.
Yeah.
Now, again, what James Gunn said in these tweets is very, very offensive.
Yes.
And I can see how people are very appalled. And a company such as Disney, they have a certain image to uphold.
Especially when it's towards children.
Exactly. So, I could only assume that when these tweets were released again 10 years later...
And do you think he would have known he was going to be a successful director for Marvel back then?
The thing is, which I didn't know until recently, is that James Gunn apparently had publicly apologized for these tweets. I don't know when, but it was a while ago. I think maybe even before Guardians. He had reflected on what he had said and realized that what he had said was offensive and apologized for it. Now, I like to think, as a society, what we want is we want people to, because we're all human, we all make mistakes. Don't we want one another to kind of reflect on things we've done in the past that were mistakes and grow from them and learn from them and just realize, hey, I was a different person back then. I do not like the person that I was. Yeah. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take that and I'm going to grow from it and I'm going to move forward.
Exactly.
And I think that's what James Gunn has done. So this whole conspiracy with these tweets coming out, I don't even know why were they thrown out there
some
again?
Internet troll probably just throwing it out there to be jealous or who knows, just to be funny, trying to get their name out. But like you said, it's one thing that he's grown from it, you know? It's not like he's still making those tweets. It's not like he's still making those same mistakes.
Yeah.
Like you said, he's grown from it. So why punish a guy who's been successful for you, is doing a great job for you, for something he's done, he's apologized for, and isn't that person anymore?
It's very strange to me. I don't know. I understand that you have to, as a business person. That's a terrible way to phrase it, but as a corporation as large as Disney is. Yeah. You have to think of what's best for the company, and I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have tweets like this or any kind of negative image to yourself that could hurt your company as a whole, you have to think about that, and you have to do what you have to do.
Exactly.
So I understand that. Now, I have heard some theories that because of these tweets being re-released, they have released James Gunn with the intent to rehire him.
Yes.
I don't know if that's true or not.
And I know Dave Bautista said if they don't use a script, he's not doing the movie, so they recast him. So it's a lot of interesting stuff.
It is a lot of interesting stuff.
It's interesting news. I feel for him. I know my coworkers, I've had this talk with them when it came out. A lot of them agree with Disney. And I'm just like, can you just... My argument is, just look back 10 years. Look at how you were back then, and look how you are now. Because you're not the same person.
Yeah.
And if you are, you probably didn't grow. You probably didn't learn from experiences, you know. It's better to... If you've changed in 10 years, it's probably a good thing because you've lived, you've experienced, and you've learned from something.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's my opinion. Heard Kev's opinion.
Yeah. Ultimately, do I think they should hire back James Gunn? I really don't know. It's tough, man. I mean, this debate could go on forever. I think that, like you said, he was a different person back then. We were all different people 10 years ago.
Yeah.
We like to think that people change all the time. The way that I view the world, the way that I view things now is totally different from when I viewed it when I was like 19, 20 years old. So it's unfortunate, and and especially because he came out and he apologized publicly, and he realized what he did was wrong, and he wants to move forward and continue his life, which is what any of us want to do when we make mistakes. And I don't know, I wouldn't be surprised if we hear within the next month or so that James Gunn is back on Guardians.
I guarantee you
I will not be surprised if he's back on the whole...
He will be. I think he will be.
Directing the film.
Well, my final thought is this, like, also back then, that's when Twitter and stuff first came out. So people were just, like, testing the waters and just doing what they wanted to because it was a brand new media. That's my take. But let us know your thoughts. Do you want James Gunn back to be rehired? Do you not want him? What's your take on the whole Twitter, the tweets, and all this stuff that's going on? Comment. Let us know. We're interested. We want to know your thoughts on everything. Make sure to like this video. If you enjoy us, hit that like button. Like, hit it a lot. Just make it, like, light up red for us.
So much.
Subscribe so you can keep tuning into all our content. If you like what we're doing, we want to know. We want to see those subscribes.
Yes.
And as always, thank you for watching.
Cheers.
Hey guys, don't forget to use our promo code on Tavour Beeroes. It's BEEROES.
This app Tavour will open up your world to all these different craft beers that you never even knew existed. If you download the app, you may find your next favorite beer that isn't even in your area. It could be from Iowa. It could be from Texas.
Hawaii.
Who knows? Hawaii. Check it out. Check it out, guys. You won't be disappointed.